Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy CL Anthony and my main man, Bryce Ward.
Happening.
We had a lot of rumors going on this week, Bryce.
Beginning of trade season.
Yeah, today's the 15th of December. Trades are able to start today. Um, become finalized today. We had a couple of trades this week, little trades, I think, that was talked about. But the beginning of the week started with Jimmy Butler's name all in the fucking news with this statement from Shams saying that, the Heat are open to trade Butler. So yeah, I mailed it down, I sent you all this shit on Twitter. But I did some research. So before I get into that, when I first mailed it down, when you first saw this news, what did you think?
I said, camera's wrong. And I wanted to get your reaction because for me, it was more of like a matter. I think I tweeted this to you. It was a matter of when, not if. I just didn't know when. I thought they'd make it to the season or something like that.
This is what I'm going to say. And I specifically saved my comments for this podcast. I will go on record and say, unequivocally, the Miami Heat are not trading Jimmy Butler this season. Okay. With that said, Jimmy is a troll, and Jimmy did troll a lot of people with changing his hairstyle this week to some of the teams that was in this report. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's agent even came out and disputed the report, which I thought was fantastic. Did you even see that?
Yeah, I also saw Sham's reaction to that, basically saying, everything I heard or everything I said's been vetted, and I'm a professional. So he basically argued back, saying, "No, what I said is true."
So this is what I have to say. Again, the Miami Heat are not going to trade Jimmy Butler. There's a couple of reasons why. One, we're fifth in the East, and we're like one game or two games behind the third position in the East. So they say Jimmy wants to go to a contender. Well, if you go out west like Phoenix, it's going to be tougher than it is in the Eastern Conference. Secondly, for everyone who says Jimmy can walk, Jimmy can walk in the offseason, but he can only walk if he takes a smaller contract.
No stars walk anymore. They always lose money, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Right. So if he wants a bigger contract, it has to be a sign and trade with Miami. So we still determine that we have a little bit of power. 3, and this is just me personally. I know a lot of fans aren't like this. Whatever the Miami Heat decide to do, I'm with it 1,000%. It's about the name on the front of the jersey versus the name on the back of the jersey. But I don't believe that we're going to trade Jimmy Butler, especially, and you're going to be surprised, with the play of Tyler Hero right now. The game we played against Cleveland Sunday, I was there, and I was nervous the whole game. Not the whole game, but I was nervous going into the game. Oh, my God. I picked this game to go to. Cleveland, at that time, they were the number one team in the NBA. So I'm like, okay, every time I go to fucking Miami, spend thousands of dollars to get down there, tickets, hotels, whatever, they lose. They won. And they won convincingly. Like, it wasn't like they led the whole game. So it's like, wow. Miami's on a 4-game winning streak. So it's like, even though this trade news came out in the middle of this, we're playing our best basketball right now. So I'm just like, okay, I don't think they're going to make a move right now. Now, they made a little move and traded Thomas Bryant to Indiana, but that's to give our rookie more playing time. But Jimmy's not going to be traded. The Heat are going to be fine. Kudos to Tyler Hero. And my girlfriend, the whole game, she was just looking, because Tyler Hero ended up with 34 points. His career high was 41, and I was sitting there, and she was like, Tyler's really playing good. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to give him credit until he hits his career high, which he didn't do. But his points, Tyler Hero's points this year are so much more impactful than they've ever been. Like, he's not stat padding. He's scoring when we need him to score. He's the leading scorer on the team. Dare I say right now, he's the best player on the team. I have ripped Tyler Hero for the entirety of his career.
I think rookie year you were pretty high on him.
But the transition is happening where Tyler Hero is the go-to guy. Bam. Start off slow, hitting the stride now. Is the second guy. And Jimmy is the third guy, which is what he always wanted to be. Jimmy's not trying to go to a team where he has to be the guy. So I think with Tyler Hero's maturation this year, they're not going to make it. They're not going to shake that up. They're going to give it one more year. They're not going to shake it up. So with that said, do you think they trade him at the trade deadline, or do you think they let Jimmy walk in the offseason?
I think if they don't keep him, they do a sign and trade next off season or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. And he's played this year. He hasn't missed games because he wanted to. He's missed games because he was injured.
Because he had to, yeah. I was going to say, like, that's the thing. Jimmy Butler's good and all, but, like, he's missed games in the playoffs when y'all needed him the most. You know what I mean? Like,
he was hurt then, though. He was hurt.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying it hasn't worked out for one reason or another, even legit reasons. So if, like, it got to a point because Jimmy Butler is getting up there in his career, there's only so much time left. If you're going to make a move, you're going to do it soon. That was my kind of thing. And so it doesn't have to be this season, but I still stand by. I think this will be, if they don't win a championship, which I don't think they will, but they don't go too far, if they don't go far enough in the playoffs, then I think off-season sign and trade makes sense.
There's one more thing I want to address before we move to the next topic. 2 finals appearances in 6 years. Could have been 3. We missed one shot at the end of a game 7 that could have gave us 3 finals appearances in 6 years since Jimmy Butler's been here. As I was driving home from Miami, you and Michael want to debate this bullshit in our fantasy group chat. I never said LeBron James wasn't a great Miami Heat player. I've never said that. I agree with Michael that 2012 LeBron James was the most dominant LeBron James we've ever seen. So I agree with that. Dwayne Wade is the greatest Miami Heat player because of longevity. He was with us the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Even Alonzo Mourning played with us longer than LeBron James did. Jimmy Butler has now been in Miami longer than LeBron James. So I'm not disputing that the best version of LeBron James wasn't in Miami, because it was. The absolute best version of LeBron James is in Miami. But I will say this. I don't know if it would ever happen. If Jimmy Butler gets one championship with Miami, I would put him above LeBron James as far as his impact with Miami, because he did more with less than what LeBron James did. So if I had to rank the top 3 players in Miami Heat history, it's Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Alonzo Mourning. But it is a big if. If Jimmy is to get a championship with Miami, Jimmy would be second, because, like I said, he did more with less. So I just wanted to address that.
Most of that was me just like
trolling.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. Sometimes you'll say one little thing, and I go like demonize, and I'll just say, I know this will bother him if I say this, so I just go down that path hard. But I also made the joke outside of the group chat. I said at this point he would probably put Haslam over LeBron.
No,
I said, but it still stands to me. I see all the reasons why Wade is the number 1.
Yeah.
But in terms of championships, and then on top of it, outside popularity, I don't think there's any question as to who has brought the most fans to Miami, because that's by far LeBron.
That's fine, and I'll address that too.
And so when I said he's the greatest Heat player of all time, I knew there was both an argument you can make if you wanted to, but then also that it was just gonna it was just gonna stick in your head. You're like, no, 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 no,
I'll
no.
make I'll make two more points, and then we got to move on.
Mhm.
I don't remember what game it was, but man, one day I was watching the game, and LeBron was just going ballistic, and I was like, God damn, this nigga is the greatest player I've ever seen in my life, right? But also, I'll say this. If it wasn't for the 2006 championship, that was on the back of the Wade Wade. I would just say that. If it wasn't for that, the argument would be closer, but only because of that it's not. Last thing, the statue looks better in person. Okay, so
I will never back down on my opinion on that thing because I don't give a shit.
Looks better. It looks better in person. Okay.
You can deal with ugly better in person. That's what I'll say about anything. About anything, ugly is better in person. All right, no, it looks awful.
Sorry. Okay, one more story. Sorry. So I slipped out of the bedroom because, like, the whole time from where I was, I'm not gonna say where I was, but from where I was, I could see everything going on at the arena. So, like, the whole weekend, people were there taking pictures. So I woke up. It was after the podcast, after we recorded last week. I was looking out the window. I'm like, okay, no one's there. So I slipped out the bedroom. I didn't even tell my lady I was going. I'm like, good, I'm gonna be down there by myself. So just in case if I get there and I cry like a little bitch, no one would see me, right? So I walk up to the statue. I start taking a picture, and then I hear a voice behind me. It's like, can you take my picture? I'm like, the fuck? It was a British voice. This is a white dude. I was like, damn, I'm not by myself, so I can't like cry like a bitch, right? So I took his pictures with the statue, and he was like, do you want me to take your picture with the statue? And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm good. So, and then he asked me about how the Heat was doing this year, and I told him it was pretty neat. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to the game tonight. I was like, okay, well, we should win because we had beat Phoenix the night before. But I didn't get a chance to emote the way that I wanted to because I still couldn't get a moment with the statue by myself. But it's okay. So, with that said, we're going to move right along. You asked me the other day, who is truly the next face of the league? This is officially the transition from LeBron to who's knows. But the throne is truly up for grabs. So I'm going to answer it, and then I'll let you do your answers. I have two.
Oh, real quick, can I get to like what really got me to want to ask that question?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Shoot.
Not that Golden State's not playing good, and not that they couldn't have a good playoff and even possibly, win a championship. I think that's far fetched, but I'm not saying it's not in play, kind of thing. So I was thinking the last time we saw LeBron or Steph win a championship, really not that long ago, but we were definitely kind of surprised at when those championships came. They really haven't been title favorites or title or heavy title contenders since then. There's been something going on kind of every year. Of course, there's reasons for every team to not contend, but LeBron for the first time has people talking about how much he should be playing and stuff. He's still putting up impressive numbers, especially for his age, but it's not translating to winning basketball the way it used to. I think the way Steph Curry plays and him just being slightly younger, it's like he has a few more years where he can still be the kind of guy that the team operates around. I think that has to do with, like I said, his style of play more than anything, but in the fact that he's the best at that in the league, playing that way, shooting threes. But it just kind of hit me. I was like, we've seen LeBron and Golden State / Steph win a championship each in the last 5 years. But more than ever, it seems unlikely that that's going to happen again. And so we've seen Boston win with Tatum and Brown. We've seen the Bucks win with Giannis. And we've seen Denver win behind Jokic and, Murray. Yeah.
Canadian.
And so it just seems like, especially with the way the standings are going and the way the teams are looking this year, Curry, Golden State, and LeBron, they're not winning a championship this year. So we're going to have another team. It could very well be Boston again, but we're most likely going to see another two different teams in the finals. Two different teams are going to have a chance. Last year, Dallas had a chance. We're seeing these teams with different top, 10 players. You'd say top 8 probably, be a little closer. But these teams with not LeBron, not Steph, but these other top players in the league go and win championships. And we're not seeing the same teams every year. It's dawning on me more than ever. I said, this is what it must have felt like when Michael retired. Because the way the guys are staying in the league now, they're still here, but they're not dominating. So it feels like what it must have felt like after MJ just was like, I'm out. And then you're left with all these teams that are all good. There's lots of stars in the league, but who fits all the molds right to take over as like a face? Because apparently, really, the NBA, I think more than other sports, maybe soccer is, up there too. It's like you really need an it guy. And that it guy, I think, has to win championships or MVPs to kind of go along with it. You really have to win titles. With so many teams winning titles, no one's stringing together a good run of titles. It's like, who is going to be the next guy? Because you have to be able to win not just one championship, but multiple championships to be the next face. So I was like, I really don't know who that's going to be. And so I was like, it just really all kind of hit me at once. I was like, the next couple years is really up for grabs. And I think whoever can win multiple championships, kind of going to force their face up there more.
Got it. So when you, I always get personal. I don't care. It's my podcast. When you text me this, I was driving to get dinner with my lady. And I read it. It's like Bryson's gonna be shocked with what I say with this. I will backtrack just a little bit, and I will say that LeBron James hasn't been relevant since Steph Curry started winning championships. The reason why I say that is because when I would go to basketball courts, all these little people were playing like Steph, more so than playing like LeBron. Okay, the 3-point shot that's just it right now. Right or wrong, it's just it. So LeBron, outside of the bubble championship, which they won fair and square, LeBron James hasn't been relevant as far as the face of the league since the Golden State Warriors started winning championships.
How many times did Golden State have to go through LeBron for a championship?
Well, they faced each other, I believe, 3 times, and Golden State won twice. Okay,
I think that helps. I think that helps cement Golden State's legacy as well.
Right. So that's when Steph kind of transitions, because if you look at LeBron championships and look at Steph's, they're the same. They both have 4 championships, but Steph had to go through LeBron twice to get a couple of those rings. Actually, yeah, I think they beat him 3 times. I think the Golden State Warriors beat LeBron 3 times, and then the 4th time they beat Boston. I have to look that up, but he might have beat LeBron no, they beat the Raptors.
So we faced him 3 times. You had it right. You had it right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that said, I think the transition started happening then. Now, Steph's older. Of course, LeBron's older. KD is older. Okay. If you would have asked me this question last season, which I think we did talk about this last season, I would have said Anthony Edwards is the guy. But he's not the guy. He's second right now because of Jason Tatum winning the championship with the Boston Celtics last year. He's the front runner. He has that. He's the champ until someone beats him. So Jason Tatum right now is the face of the league. Is he having a standout season? No. But he has the most important thing. Of all the new young guys, he's the first one to win a championship. Now, last year, I dragged Luka all year. I said I don't want to hear about Luka unless he goes to the finals. And guess what he did? He got there. I even picked him to win, but he didn't win. So right now, Jason Tatum is the face of the league. If I had to pick a number 2 guy, it would be Anthony Edwards. Number 3 is Luka. What do you got?
Well, also, I want to tweak the question a little bit more then.
Okay.
Who do you think, it doesn't have to be this year, who do you think, though, becomes the next face of the league that isn't just the face for a year or two? It's who do you think has the legit chance to replace LeBron or Steph or Kobe or Jordan as like a more long term? Like who do you think has the best future? Because in terms of that question, I think it's Ant. But he has to win. That's what I was mostly getting at. Is the reason why it can be Tatum for a few years is more of a holding place. He's not he's not the face in terms of what I'm thinking about long term. I think the next long term guy who dominates is going to be Ant, or at least he's the one who meets all the criteria for it. If he doesn't win a championship, it won't matter. If he doesn't win some MVPs, it's not going to matter. So he still has a lot of things to do, but he has also, it's like even you have to, like we've talked about, you have to be from here, because it's almost a different conversation if you want to say best foreign player as well. And a foreign player can be the face of the league, but not in terms of how I see it long term. And then on top of it, style of play is important. So like Jokic, I think you could argue Jokic is the best player in the league every year. Him winning a championship was huge for his legacy, but like he's not the exciting guy to watch. Right. And of course he's not from here. So there's a few things. It's like the reason Ant seems like the no-brainer question to me is because he's exciting. He's exciting to see in interviews. He's exciting to watch play. He has the right attitude in what we are looking at for like not just a star, but like a polarizing, like ascending basketball star. That's why it's hard for me to get behind Tatum. He's not matching my eye test as well. It's not that he's not exciting to watch play at times, or if you have him in fantasy, he's amazing. But it's just like he didn't win Finals MVP either. I know other guys haven't. You know, the Iguodala over Curry one. Like sometimes we get into some realms that are kind of like, well, what it doesn't make sense. A lot of sense. I mean, I get why, and maybe it's like, oh, you can only win that specific trophy so many times. I mean, that's really why Embiid got the MVP almost over Jokic. I mean, you can make arguments, but Jokic should be the MVP right now. Like every year, it just makes sense, kind of. I'm just saying, there's certain like guys who win so much that you feel like you have to give someone else a chance, but that's not the case right now with anybody besides Tatum, and he's not necessarily that polarizing star who you want to watch interview either. Like there's certain eye tests that Tatum doesn't match, or situation tests that Tatum doesn't match for my taste in terms of what I think truly the next like big face of the NBA is going to be. If I had to, and this is more predicting than saying who it is right now. I think Ant has everything he needs, but he's got to go win. Possibly win some MVPs as well, which isn't going to be easy with guys like Jokic and Luka and Shea coming up. I think Ant has the best. I think he has the best frame and game and attitude to do it. He's just got to go out and win. That's going to be the hardest part.
He has to mature off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as Tatum, any big company who had to build a perfect employee or the perfect player, it would be Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum reminds me of a young Kobe, a number 8 Kobe, not number 24 Kobe, but a number 8 Kobe, the cookie cutter, great husband, father, you got Deuce on TV all the fucking time, right? That's what Tatum is right now. But when we met the real Kobe, after that bullshit rape allegation, then Kobe came back as 24. That's when we saw the real Kobe. We didn't give a fuck, right? Mm-hmm. That's the Kobe people. Because, see, when Kobe first was in the league, people didn't fuck with Kobe. People didn't like Kobe at all. But after the bullshit that happened, he changed his number, cut his hair off. That's when people started fucking with Kobe when we saw the real Kobe. I don't know if the Jason Tatum that we're seeing now is not the real Jason Tatum. I don't think he has another plateau to hit. But as far as the safe person to pick to be the next face of the league, it's him. He has everything.
He's the safest pick, right?
He's the safest pick.
Right now, he is.
So as great as Anthony Edwards is, because I can go back where they pitted Allen Iverson versus Kobe Bryant, where Allen Iverson was the bad guy, Kobe Bryant was the good guy, right? That's how it used to be before the number change. Anthony Edwards, he's a dog, but he would have to raise his level of dogness times like 100 to break that plateau. He has to force his way. He's in the conversation, but it's not even close. Jason Tatum's like right here as far as corporate America, and then Anthony Edwards like right here. He has to, man, look, that's...
If we throw in foreign players, is Luka and Ant on the same level?
No. Luka right now is number 4 in the West. Your boy Tatum is number 7. Luka's been to the finals, even though they fell off. Luka's been so if we include foreign players, Luka has the advantage. But I will also say this. The NBA is begging and pleading for Wemby.
I know.
To be the next guy. Now, San Antonio has not unleashed him yet. It's still a minute. They don't call it a minutes restriction. Wemby doesn't play a lot of minutes. Okay, they're bringing him along as as slowly as possible. The NBA is begging for Wemby to be unleashed because that's the guy they want. Because the NBA wants an international guy to be. They want an international guy. That's what they want. It's fine. It's cool. Luka is not. It's not the sexy pick. Forgive me. Jokic is not the sexy pick.
No.
Okay? Luka is a little more sexier than, and I'm not talking about looks or anything, but just a little more sexier than Jokic. So Jokic is not that sexy pick, even though he's like the best player in the league right now, right? They won't win it. Now, we don't know when the Spurs, Pop's gone now. He may come back later, but we don't know when the Spurs are going to unleash Wemby to where he can play the majority of a full game. So right now is when Anthony Edwards needs to make that move, but they've gotten off to a rough start.
He's young.
He is.
And very young.
He is. He's like 21, I think. He's young.
I think he's older. than that, isn't he?
Is he 22?
I mean, Paolo just turned 21. You know,
Hold on. I know
Ant's
he's
got
not
to
as old as
be 20, at least 22, if not 23.
Hold on. Google it, right?
But when I was thinking about this question, I guess I should have done predict more of the future face, because I think it's so up for grabs that it's not going to be solidified until one of these younger guys comes of age, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And then if that's the case, and they have to be domestic for the question too, then it's Ants. It's Ants all day. But did you happen to see how old he was?
He just turned 23 in August.
Okay. So Ant's my number one. I know who you thought I would pick for this question at some point, and it's definitely in terms of how I wanted to frame it. Yeah, I do believe Paolo could be in that conversation in the distant future. Okay, that's all I'm saying is he has the parameters for what I'm looking for. But and you kind of brought it up with Kobe, my dark horse. And all the young guys have to prove themselves still. Even Ant, who's at the top of that list for me. But depending on who can win, and with the league being so up for grabs, in my opinion, compared to other runs by great players, I think Ja Morant has the opportunity to be that face of the league because of his play style. If they stayed healthy and Memphis could win games, could legitimately win like playoff series.
They're second in the West right now.
I know, and that's what's made me think about it. Every night there's
And they're
Ja
injured.
highlights. Yeah, but Ja is the eye grabber, and he plays such an exciting style, even more so than Ant, that all it would take, and the story could be or would be that he went from the problem kid to the face of the league, like what Kobe was. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Kobe. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he is he's that exciting to watch that all it would take. He's young enough that all it would take would be some winning, and he would be up there. That he's my dark horse. I don't think it's likely. I'm just saying he's so different in terms of how exciting he is to play that I could see him 5 or 6 years down the road, like with any of these guys. Even Ant, it's not going to be overnight because he's not going to win that fast, in my opinion. So it's going to take Ant 5 or 6 years as well to be that true face if he has it in him. Any of those young guys can do it if they can stay healthy, kind of, and legitimately win, which is harder to do in this league when you're young. But Ja would be a dark horse candidate. Like I said, not likely, but he's so exciting that he could captivate the league if he could do those other things.
This is what I'll say. Then we're gonna wrap it up. I haven't watched a lot of the Grizzlies this year. I just haven't. Eventually, I watch everybody eventually whenever they play Miami, but I just haven't watched the Grizzlies this year. They're number 2 in the West, which is shocking to me. I didn't think they would bounce back so quick. I absolutely love Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
But the people love Ja Morant a little more than they love Ant. Just like the people love Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Ja has to stay who he is. And I don't think because of that, I don't think the league will push him to the forefront. Mm-hmm. Now the people would have him to the forefront. Just like, look, everybody loved Allen Iverson. For all his faults, for all the bullshit, Allen Iverson comes on TV, you have eyes there, right? People love Allen Iverson. Mm-hmm. So that's how Ja Morant's going to be.
He's going to be undeniable. It's not going to be up to the league.
I think this year is important. So, and this is why I say that. traditionally in the playoffs, one would play 8, two would play 7. So if 2 and 7 were to go at each other right now, it would be Memphis and Minnesota. Okay, those two have to have a matchup. All right, and I think that will determine, because all eyes, of course, are going to be on the playoffs. If they meet in the playoffs, that will determine who gets the edge. Will it be Anthony Edwards? Will it be John Morant?
I think the same
right
for
now,
that if they played Dallas, because
say
Luke
what?
is in that conversation. Yeah,
Well, I'm just talking about specifically these two
I know.
right now, because the people ain't necessarily, and what I mean by the people is the culture ain't necessarily behind Luka. We fuck with Luka, don't get me wrong. We fuck with Luka hard, but we got Ja, we got Ant. So if these two meet in the playoffs, if it's able to happen this year, whoever wins would have that slight edge. In which I would lean towards Memphis right now, because Minnesota is just a wreck.
And the West is going to be, it's so much more exciting because you also, I mean, they're undeniable and they have their own star. You have to throw OKC and Shea in there.
Yeah,
So
they were number one last year. They were number one for a lot last year. So
I'm just saying, like, they're all 4 young teams with stars.
They felt the pain last year when they got eliminated. So they have to look. OKC has to go to the conference finals this year. It's not even second round. They got to go to the conference finals. Just like how I was hard on Luka last year, and he finally got to the finals. So that's where I'm at with OKC. And don't get me wrong, Chet's been out for weeks now. When Chet comes back, I mean, they've been winning without him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But because Edie's been playing good. But when Chet comes back, there's no excuses. So Oklahoma has to go to the conference finals. But if we get a Memphis and Minnesota matchup in the playoffs,
and Memphis wins,
there you go. That's your answer right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, really quick, we did have a little trade that's going to be official today at some point. Dennis Schroeder going to Golden State. I'm going to go on record. Dennis Schroeder would not bring a championship to the Golden State Warriors.
You screwed over the whole West. You screwed over the whole West of that.
On record. Drew Holiday, I love you. On record. And my voice is leaving now. Drew Holiday will not bring a championship to the Golden State Warriors. What do you think about this trade?
Yeah, I mean, they needed some extra guard play. Schroeder's been playing good. You can't. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. It's not. It's just more. They're just building. Keeping their little bit of depth they have. They're just being safe. That's all. Nothing crazy.
One more thing I'll say. This trade rumor is true. The Washington Wizards have let it be known that Kyle Kuzma is up for grabs. That's the only one that's true that we've heard, okay? Kyle Kuzma is up for grabs.
The Bulls seem to be sellers too.
Well,
that's probably more than one person. So
no one's taking Levine though. No one's taking that contract. Vooch maybe, but I know Dallas has talked with the Wizards about Zach. Lord have mercy about Kyle Kuzma. I'm just throwing that out there, okay? Kuzma is for sale, okay? Let me just say that. So, on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. Everyone stay safe, and we are out.